Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Real Hazardous. Today we're going to talk about finding a charter in Venice, Louisiana. We recently did a charter down there, first time fishing, never fished before. Thought about taking our own boat and just trying it out, but it's pretty interesting inlet, about 25-mile run to get out. Not knowing the area or that type of fishing, I was like, you know what, we're going to be better off just paying a charter guy who knows the area, technique, has all the gear, and just go through him. So that's what we did. I don't charter much. When I was a little kid, I may have gone a couple charters, but for the most part, never charter. I got my own boat, so I say my dad's boat that we go on, and I don't have to charter. I either go with friends or go on his boat, something like that. I wanted to point out some things I learned from booking a charter and some differences because I'm from Florida, east coast of Florida, and the charter's a little bit different over there versus Louisiana and versus my time in the Keys. It's all a little bit different, so I'm just going to tell you what I learned, and hopefully this will help you out. Fishing is big in Louisiana, and there are a lot of charter options. When I was going through trying to find a charter option, there was a couple things I noticed, and that is most boats you would charter the boat and the fuel is a separate bill. And that's different in Northeast Florida. Most of the charter guys I know or worked with, it's just all included in one price. That's the price and that's all you got to pay. But here, for example, you may see, okay, charter is for an offshore boat, maybe like a 39 Yellowfin or a 37 Freeman, might be $1,900, $2,000 a day. Then you'll see plus fuel. That's something you definitely need to factor in because nowadays fuel prices are really high. In fact, we booked our charter over a year ago. Fuel prices were much lower. And so it's just, you got to keep in mind that expense could fluctuate. Most boats will tell you, 39-foot boat roughly, they said it could be 200 to 300 gallons of fuel a day. In fact, our first day we burnt, I think almost 290, and then the second day it was about 270, so a little bit better. Now, Marina fuel is also more expensive than normal fuel. Just boat fuel is usually non-ethanol, so prices are a little higher, plus I guess just the convenience, they're on the water and they gotta bring it in, so it's just more expensive. So for example, when we were coming in through Alabama and Louisiana, it looked like most fuel prices were in the low $4 per gallon at a normal car gas station. But at that time in Venice, the Marina fuel was about $5.28 a gallon. So keep in mind, not only do you have to pay for fuel separately on a lot of these, but that fuel price will probably be higher than normal fuel price. Now, there are some charter boats that will tell you this is the price, fuel is included. You'll notice that the charter is more expensive. And either way, you're gonna have to pay for the fuel, whether they include it or whether, they don't include it and you pay for it at the marina. So just keep that in mind. But sometimes it's nicer, on the Northeast Florida, I like it, that region where all the prices included and there's no guessing, oh, what's this gonna be? It's just straight up, okay, this is what I booked it for, this is what I'll have to pay. So when you go there and you got your charter booked and you go fishing, what you'll do is you'll come back and then you'll stop at the marina, they'll take your fish off and they'll fillet them, and right there at that marina, they'll start filling it up. They'll fill the boat up once it's, clicked. They'll pull off a receipt. Captain kept one copy, he gives you a copy, and you just go up to the marina. In this case, the Venice Marina, went upstairs and paid for the fuel right there. So that's when you would pay for that for the charter. We had 2 days, and then we settled up for the whole charter afterwards, but you would pay daily for the fuel and fill up that day. So besides that, these charters typically have a mate that works for them, and the mate works for tips. They'll tell you they typically recommend 20% of the charter is what you should tip the mate. Mates work really hard, so by all means be sure to tip the mate. And of course, I'm sure the captain wouldn't mind if you tipped him. That's totally up to you, depending on how it goes and what you decide to do. You can tip the captain as well. So those are the main expenses with chartering a boat. Is check the actual charter for the boat, the fuel, whether or not it's included, and the tip. Now, there's another thing you'll have to pay for as well, and that's a Louisiana charter license. They sell a 3-day Louisiana charter license, which you'll have to get, and that's $10 plus a $5 convenience fee. Kind of interesting too, I didn't know about that initially, because in Florida, the charter captains have to have a boat license. So if you go on a license in Florida, at least last I checked, you don't have to buy a separate license because the charter guy has it for the boat. Okay, so cost aside, you're working on booking this charter for Venice, Louisiana. What else should you know? Once you book it, a lot of times there's a deposit you have to put down, and that's a non-refundable deposit. They'll specify exactly how much that might be, whether it's 20% of the charter or $400, $500, something like that. It'll say on the website or when you talk to the person. Now, when I did that, they sent me a big document, basically the charter agreement and things I should know. So they told us, when the captain will get in touch with us. Like I did it through an organization. They had 7 charter boats. So the particular captain would call you. Maybe you choose just a person who runs his own business, his own boat, in which case he'll get with you the day before. Now, fishing is a very weather-dependent sport. It's the bad thing about it. It's hard to plan. In fact, we rescheduled our trip 5 times because of the weather. So you're going to want to make sure you understand how that policy works. Now with us, rescheduling's free. They look at the weather. If they cancel for weather, then they'll just say, okay, it's not going to work out this day. Let's go ahead and put another day on the books. And about a week, 5 days, 4 days, you'll look at the weather, talk with them, and they'll say, yeah, it's good to go, or no, it's looking bad. We'll plan accordingly. You need to keep in mind how the deposit works. For example, if you book multiple days, we had an issue over the phone. There was some confusion, and they didn't book us down for one of the days, and when we tried to add it, it had already been booked up. So we'd had 2 days down originally, but they could only put us for 1. And in that case, we said, well, hey, just can you apply our deposit to 1 day because, they didn't put the day down correctly. And they said no, which was pretty frustrating. Turned out it was rough that day anyway, so we just rebooked it. But make sure you understand how that deposit works. If you cancel it and it's a good weather day within 2 weeks, you probably won't get your deposit back. And at a certain point, you have to pay the whole thing unless you're paying in cash that day. So you just need to understand what's due when and how that cancellation policy works. I looked at several companies. One of them I looked at was the Mexican Gulf Fishing Company. And I gotta say, I really like their online software. Like you can go online and look and see what days are available. And I went through a company called VooDoo and had a great time. Went through Captain Nick and First Mate John. And great guys, put us on a lot of fish, had a lot of fun. But they didn't have that software, and it was a little harder because then you have to call the person, and with 7 boats, they get kind of busy sometimes. So it's hard to okay, what days do you have available? Okay, let me call my guys, see if all of them are available, and you gotta call them back, hope it's still available. So it's not as nice as the having that computer software where you can just look, say, oh, look, these days are available, go from there. So yeah, and that's kind of important, I think, especially I didn't realize how many times we're gonna have to rebook it. So having that software is like a huge help. If you're looking at different charter companies, keep in mind there's a chance you could have to reschedule a few times. So make sure you're able to get a hold of them. They got good customer service, or you have a good way to see what dates you can book down. There are 2 marinas, it sounds like, in Venice. We went to the Venice Marina, but there's another one they told us about called Cypress Cove. And the charter may specify which one you need to go to meet them. In our case, they could go to either one. They're all pretty close. So they asked us where we were staying. We said we're close to the Venice Marina, so they just said they'll meet us there. So they'll just tell you, where they can meet you, or you tell them where they're closest and they'll meet you there. But make sure you plan it in advance. Don't just say the marina, because there are 2 down there. You don't want to get that confused. Otherwise, I hope that helps you out. Just keep in mind price. Read that contract, know your cancellation policy. Make sure you find someone that's easy to book through, and have good customer service, and know which marina you're going to meet at. If you guys got any other questions, any other details, things I learned, feel free to comment below. Appreciate you watching the video, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.